The dream of living a longer life has been part of our story forever. But what used to be myth and magic is now becoming actual science. And the secrets, well, they aren't just being found in some high-tech lab. They're also hiding in plain sight, in ancient traditions, and some surprisingly simple economics. So let's start this journey at the smallest possible level, deep inside our own cells, where a revolution is happening right now. Scientists are literally learning how to turn back our biological clock. But as you're about to see, the most advanced tech is really only one piece of the puzzle. And this right here, this represents a huge shift in thinking. I mean, instead of treating all the different diseases that happen when we get older, the new goal is to target the aging process itself. This one idea is completely revolutionizing medicine, with a whole new focus on restoring function and building resilience from the ground up. Okay, so how do you even begin to target aging? Well, the first and honestly, the most radical approach is to actually rewind our cellular clock. We're talking about the real science of making old cells act like they're young again. It's a process called partial reprogramming, and you can think of it like a soft reset for yourselves. Scientists use this cocktail of proteins, they're called Yamanaka factors, that can basically rewind a cell's development. By just applying them for a really short time, they can clean up age-related damage without totally erasing the cell's identity, which, could get a little risky. And this isn't science fiction, folks. Major labs are already getting incredible results. At Harvard, they restored sight in old mice. Alto's labs is seeing rejuvenation in major tissues like muscle and liver. And Stanford confirmed that these reset cells get their youthful energy back. The evidence is just piling up. This molecular clock can actually be reversed. All right, the second strategy isn't about rejuvenation, it's more about sanitation. It's all about tackling the problem of senescent cells, or way more fun to say, zombie cells. These are cells that basically refuse to die. They just hang around, pumping out inflammatory chemicals that damage healthy cells and speed up aging. So the solution? A whole new class of drugs called senolytics, and they're designed to literally hunt down and eliminate these zombie cells. You can see here, several therapies are already in human trials, targeting everything from frailty to eye diseases. The idea is so simple. Just take out the cellular trash so the body can get back to repairing itself. These cellular tricks are absolutely incredible. But they really force us to ask a much bigger question. Are we actually changing the deep, fundamental rhythm of how humans age? To even try to answer that, we have to zoom out, way out, from a single cell, and look at whole populations over generations. And that brings us to this really fascinating study from demographers who analyzed mortality data from 12 different countries. What they wanted to know was this: has the actual pace of aging, how quickly our risk of death goes up with age, changed at all over the last century? And this gets to a really crucial distinction. Are we living longer because the clock of aging itself is ticking more slowly? Or are we just pushing back the time that the clock starts ticking in the first place? It's a subtle difference, but it's an incredibly important one. And what they found was, well, it was pretty stunning. Once the researchers filtered out all the noise from big historical events like wars and pandemics, they found that the underlying rate of aging has stayed remarkably constant. That rhythm, it seems, is fixed. So here's the big takeaway. All the gains we've made in life expectancy haven't really slowed down the biological process of aging. Nope. Instead, they've given us more healthy years before that process really kicks in. We're delaying the onset, not changing the speed. Which, of course, leads to a fantastic question. If that biological tempo is so stable, what are the most powerful tools we have to postpone when it starts? For a clue, let's step away from the lab and the data, and let's travel to a community that's famous for its long, healthy lives. Okay, so this takes us from cutting-edge science all the way to a timeless social tradition in Okinawa, Japan. So in Okinawa, one of the world's famous blue zones with an incredible number of people living past 100, many people belong to something called a moai. It's basically a small group of friends who commit to supporting each other for life. It's a social safety net that provides emotional, financial, and health security. This powerful, lifelong social connection is a perfect real-world example of delaying that onset of age-related decline. You see, the moai is just a perfect example of how low-tech, high-touch solutions can have this massive impact. So what happens if we apply that logic on a national scale? What's the economic argument for systematically investing in a longer, healthier lifespan for everyone?
Well, a huge economic analysis from the McKinsey Health Institute looked at exactly that, and what they found provides a really powerful reason for all of us to act. And wow, the payoff is huge. For every single dollar invested in programs that promote healthy aging, things like improving social inclusion or supporting wellness, society gets about $3 back in benefits. It's not a cost, it's an investment with a fantastic return. Now, of course, the return changes depending on where you put the money. Wellness programs give you almost a four-fold return. But check this out. Enhancing public safety, like scam awareness training for older adults, delivers a staggering return, almost 10 times the initial investment. The bottom line is, these interventions consistently pay for themselves and then some. But listen, the benefits here go way beyond just the money. These investments also create huge returns that you can't put a price on. Stronger communities, better equity, and just a higher quality of life for all of us. So we've got the science to extend our healthy years, and we know it makes total economic sense. But all this progress leaves us with the biggest questions of all. Because as we get this incredible power to essentially rewrite our own lifespans, we are forced to confront the profound moral and ethical dilemmas this new power creates. And this brings up maybe the most pressing question of all. If these treatments are really expensive, do we risk creating a world that's split into two classes, the people who can afford to stay young and those who can't? What happens when longevity becomes a luxury good? And that really forces us to stop and think about our ultimate goal here. Is the point to simply conquer the biology of aging, or is it to expand the number of years we can live with purpose and dignity? The World Health Organization has been really clear on this. These technologies have to prioritize health equity for everybody, not just for a wealthy few. Because in the end, this whole quest for a longer life, it isn't just about cells and economics. It's a journey that holds up a mirror to our entire society, and it forces us to ask what we truly value and to decide what kind of future we really want to build with all that extra time.